everybody, and welcome back to Project Life Weekly. We are back in my Project Life album, and as the title suggests, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of some anxiety struggles that I've been having as I walk you through dropping all of the photos into my June album. Now, the way this album looks right now, the flip through that you're seeing, is a little bit outdated because I have done more work in May. I got a little bit behind in my album, and I actually don't even really like saying behind because it was very intentional this summer not being in my Project Life album. I was working on Kayla's album, and there will be an update on her album coming up soon. But I very intentionally set this project aside knowing I really wanted to focus on her album and what I was doing. And so when setting a project aside of any magnitude, it gets behind, obviously. And then with Project Life, it's an ongoing project, right? So every month things are happening. I never worry about this because it's so easy when you have a system to just dive back into it and get things going again. And I always like to remind you that just putting a system in place, a system does not have to be complicated. A system can be very easy. I originally was going to talk about journaling. I was going to talk about my May journaling in today's video. And I decided to push that video and just share this. This is footage I already had that I filmed when I got my photos and I started dropping photos. And so I just decided to go ahead and do this video because I wanted to chat a little bit about struggles that I'm having and how that impacts even me being creative or me posting videos or posting blog posts or doing the work that I do here. So first, I just want to say to everybody who has recently subscribed to my channel and who found me through the Stampin' Up leaving video, thank you so much for being here, for subscribing, for so many kind and honest comments. I really very much appreciate it. I have tried to respond to every single comment that has been left, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate you being here and subscribing to my channel and supporting what I am doing. With that, the last final Stampin' Up announcement that I will make is that my last day is the 20th. That is when I was advised to resign. That's why I did not resign sooner. I was advised that that was the best timing to resign. And then it just so happens, I feel like this is a little gift, I guess. It just so happens that Stampin' Up is doing free shipping on the 18th, which is tomorrow. So I'm going to place a final order. I'm going to get some dimensionals, my favorite my pop dot foam adhesive, and then I'm also going to pick up 3 or 4 6x8 albums that I use for Week in the Life and different mini projects, and I'll use that discount one last time, and then that will be it. That will close my journey with Stampin' Up. I feel like it will be just a fun way to close out the Stampin' Up journey, right? So thank you guys so much for your support and that. I appreciate it so much. And the 20th will be my last day. I will resign that day mid-afternoon. So all I'm doing here is dropping my photos in for June. If you are familiar with my Project Life style or the way that I do my albums, I do them monthly, and that means I just have a design A on both sides. So on the right side and the left side, I do a design A. I set up my month using either pattern paper or a core kit. I'm using all older core kits this year. And so for the month of June, I'm using the core kit, Olive, I think, Olivia, Olive, something. I will put the information in the description box or somewhere on the blog post maybe. I do have a set of designer paper. Back in the day, Becky Higgins used to produce a core kit and a set of pattern paper and a divider and an album, and you could get all the coordinating pieces. Now for the month of June, I will have this back page, which is the design A, that I'm going to filter in a few more random photos just because I have that space, because my album ends for June and then I start a new album for July, and that one goes July through December. So I have a little bit extra space. And then on the very back, I have a clear pocket right there, and it has a few items. It has a planner item and then a card, a little heart card folded thing that Kayla made me for Valentine's Day, and those two things just didn't fit anywhere else. I have my mini trimmer out here. Recently, my little teeny tiny mini trimmer broke. That broke on a video. I don't know if it was in a members only video or not, but it totally busted right in the middle of me using it. I pulled out this Creative Memories one that I've had for decades. Like, I've had this forever. And it has a little drawer in it. It's a little clunky because it has the drawer where you can store things in. I'm planning on getting one of the Tim Holtz mini trimmers. It matches the large trimmer that I use, and I'm planning on picking up a second Tim Holtz trimmer just to have, because I love that trimmer. It's been the best trimmer I've ever had, so I can imagine that the mini one is probably just as good. So I am just trimming some things down and putting them in pockets, and that's always the first thing I do is I drop my photos in. So this is technically my June photo drop video where I'm just adding all my photos. I'm not even trying to do anything creative. I'm not trying to focus on journaling. That is the system that I have in place. I know that if I get my photos in, then that is the most important. The second most important, I feel like, is the journaling. And then the third thing is the embellishments. And that's like icing on the cake, right? If I get to those things where I can add some extra things, then that's wonderful. But if not, I'm not worried about it. So as I go through here and drop my photos in, you will see that I have a traditional page in here, and I have some photos that I have placed in those pockets. That layout right there, it's a double-sided layout. I'm doing it front to back, and I just pulled it out of my pre-made layouts. I love creating pre-made layouts, and I love getting paper out and embellishments out and just creating some layouts that I know that in the future I will be able to use. You will notice that the layouts that I have, they don't necessarily match the core kit that I'm using, but it is summer related, and so I'm not worried about everything matching perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and use that layout, and it's going to work out fine. And I have the photos in there that I will just add. That's all I need to do to that layout is add those photos and add some journaling. And my journaling for the month of April, May, June, July, August is all done. It's on my computer. It is for a variety of products, for a variety of projects. My Project Life album, my One Little Word album. I have a couple other mini projects that I have, my personal Project Life album. All the journaling is on my computer. I literally just need to sit down and print it all out. And when I do that video, I want to share with you some journaling tips. So if you currently have questions about journaling, or you're struggling with an aspect of journaling for your memory keeping projects, please leave those struggles or questions in the comments of this video. And then when I film that video, the reason I haven't printed a lot of my journaling and added it is because I've been wanting to film that video. So when I film that, I will be happy to address those questions or help you guys if you have if you're running into issues with journaling. So just leave those in the comments below. So you can see here I'm just trimming the photos down and adding them to these pages. I recently found a whole bunch of those plastic sunshines, which I knew I had, and I was ecstatic to come across them. I wanted them for a project earlier in the year and couldn't find them. So recently, as I've made the announcement that I'm leaving Stampin' Up and things have started to shift and that has become just a part of my reality, I have been struggling this last month, in the month of September, with school starting back and being in the middle of IEPs for Violet. That is an individual educational plan, I believe is what it's called. But every 3 years, there's a big annual test that she has to go through. It's actually a lot of testing. It's psychological testing, and physical testing. And it's like they go through all of the things you could ever imagine, and then some things that you can't even really imagine, that like, oh, I didn't know to ask that, those kinds of questions. They do all of this testing, and they do these interviews of me, and we talk about, you know, her home life and like what she's doing and interested in and her struggles. And then they create this plan for the next 3 years that will go into her IEPs each year, but they are more focused. So like in junior high, when she was going into junior high, one of the things that we were very focused on in helping her manage and grow and get better at was social aspects of, she's autistic. If you are not familiar with Violet, she is autistic. And so that was a huge focus. And the amount of things that we put in place and the amount of things that we worked with, she ended up earning or winning or being given the Principal's Award for her junior high, which is not a small junior high by any means. And only one boy and one girl get that award. And she got it, and it was based on her growth, some of her growth socially. And that was incredible. And she was only able to accomplish that because of all of the work of that triannual IEP in 6th grade and us really focusing on the social aspect and the things that she was struggling with. So as she has started high school, she is going through that again, and it is a lot. It's just not only a lot to manage and a lot of paperwork and questionnaires you're filling out and interviews that you're doing and meetings that you're having. It's also emotionally draining because there is this space of me wanting to make sure that she's able to thrive and that she's able to learn and that she's able to move to the next level in life and school and all of the things. So it has been quite a bit. And also we're settling into school. Andrew's in junior high. Kayla has started her junior year. She is starting to drive. We are doing all of those things. And I'm telling you, my mama heart has been at the breaking point. And then the things that are happening here online, leaving Stampin' Up, that becoming such a huge reality. The fear of that, it's so scary. For many years, even though I was not by any means in the top demonstratorship in recent years, I wasn't in the top 10. I wasn't in even the top 100 in the most recent years. It still was income that I was able to bring in, and it did help our family. It also, as I've started doing this online, there's a lot of things on the back end that most people don't realize that we pay for, such as, being able to have an email list, to be able to email our customers, being able to have a website. I just had to upgrade my hosting because I ran out of space. It's like the cloud, you get the notice like, oh, you got to pay more for more storage. And I just upgraded my hosting. And so there is a lot of stress, or I wouldn't even say it's stress because it's just normal stuff, right? I just feel like that's very normal. You're paying the bills and you're paying the, but there's some back end stuff that I don't know, has been scary. And I struggle a great deal with anxiety. I have for a long time, ever since I feel like the majority of my anxiety and struggle with all that came after I got very sick. When I had Violet, I was in a coma for a month. Right after I had her, 3 days after I had her, I was in a coma for a month. Actually happened around this time of the year. Actually, all of November of that year, I was in a coma, and I had a lot of recovery to do after that. And after that, I really very much struggled with anxiety. I was in therapy for a couple years, and one of the things that they diagnosed me with was PTSD from that experience. And it wasn't just an experience of like, oh, I went into a coma because I had a baby. There were other factors that went into it that were very traumatizing. And so knowing that it is a struggle that I have, there's lots of things that I have in place to deal with that. I don't think of it as something that is bad that I go through. I just think of it as something that I deal with. And I feel like when I have the tools in place to be able to deal with those things, then, not that it's easy, but it definitely is helpful. And one of the things that I am so grateful for is memory keeping and being able to be creative. Now, there are times that the anxiety prevents me from being able to create because I get this very, this like mind fog. It's like I don't know how to think, or I don't know how to move through my thoughts, and that can be really hard, and I'll want to be creative but I won't know how to do it. And that definitely has happened. But on the flip side of that, there's lots of times that memory keeping, and particularly my Project Life album, I'm going to try not to get emotional for this part, but particularly my Project Life album, and the reason that I love my Project Life album so much is because I look back at these very mundane moments, painting the girls' room, or being in the grocery store. That top photo there is in the grocery store. I don't do the grocery shopping. My husband does the grocery shopping in our family, and I rarely go with him. And I happened to snap that photo when we went together at the beginning of June, and snapping that photo, or seeing Violet out by the fire in our front yard. They are moments that ground me, that make me, they give me a little bit of peace. And I think that I don't know for anybody else who struggles with anxiety, please leave a comment below if you do. I just would love to be here to support you, and I want you to feel supported and feel like there's somebody who gets it, because sometimes just knowing somebody else understands is like such a gift, right? And so I know that when I look back at these moments, like these very small moments, sometimes I forget because of that anxiety. Even painting the girls' room, it was very stressful. My mom was here. The house was torn apart. It was just at the very beginning of the heat for California. And so it was like this stressful thing. We couldn't move all the furniture out. It wouldn't fit out of their door. We had to, it was a project, right? And it was a bit stressful. And I have this tendency to just want to get through things. I just like, let's just get it painted. Let's just get everything put back together. And going back, and even the moment of stopping to snap the photo, snapping that photo of the girls in the room before it was painted, and Violet was sitting on her bed and she was watching Kayla, and like, that is such our life. And like seeing Violet watch Kayla, because she's autistic, she is also not as mature. Like, she doesn't hit the maturity level of where she should be from her age. And I don't, not that this is an issue for us, it just is something that we know. And so for her to sit in there and talk to Kayla about, teenage things, or to be a part of that, it's a reminder that this is why I do this. It's why I'm a mom. It's why I love it. It's why I do all the work for her with her autism, and working through things and helping her to thrive. And it's a reminder of like stopping and taking that photo is a reminder of me to enjoy those like moments, as like, I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's like this moment of like, just enjoy this. Like, yes, it's stressful. Yes, things are hard. Yes, there's anxiety, or there's things like, just stop for a moment and be thankful and enjoy. And then that's Violet on her bed after we redid everything and updated everything, and it was just so exciting. And I will tell you that even this week, when you're married and you're dealing with life and you're dealing with emotions, and particularly having somebody that has anxiety and struggles, it can be hard on your marriage. And there was this week we were just struggling and trying to get through all the things in life, and me, being being not scared, but just like being stressed at this new way that I'm doing things. Um, Words were said, and I took him dinner at work last night, and I just surprised him. I picked up a little pizza and I went to his work and dropped it off, and then I waited for a few minutes and I took a photo. We took a photo together, and it was just like this moment of coming back together and being like, yes, we're in this. It's hard. It's stressful. Anxiety really sucks. Anxiety is not something that is probably ever the same. It's not the same for everybody, and it's certainly not even the same day to day. And so being able to take that moment and stop and take a photo, and later when I get that photo printed, and it will probably be a photo that's either in my personal album or my one little word album, having that will be such a reminder that I can get through it. And so not only does the creative aspect of getting this physical product out, and I love Ali Edward products because a lot of times her products are calling you out to see those little moments, whether they're good or bad, being thankful, having moments that are hard and still documenting them. I feel like Ali Edwards products, it really encourages you to look at your whole life and every range of emotion you have and be okay documenting that. So that's really one of the reasons I love her product. But even just getting those physical products out, looking through pretty paper, I will never be sad looking through pretty paper. I will never be sad picking out more pretty paper to use. And so just having the ability to pull out some pretty memory keeping product to take a look at photos of moments that have passed and being able to put them in my album. And it's also the reason that I really love doing things separate. I really love doing all my photos at one time and then doing all my journaling at one time. And when I do the journaling video, I will share a few tips that I have to make sure that your journaling is kept current when you're going back and you're not doing it all in one step. That is one of the reasons I like it, because dropping the photos and looking at the photos and putting the photos in the album, it gives you a moment to look back. And then when you're doing the journaling, it gives you an ability to look at things differently. Like when you're journaling about all of the things, it's a lot different than when you're just looking at the photos. And I also really love the ability to take these embellishments and pair them together with photos. And sometimes what somebody else says is the perfect thing. I'm not great at articulating my thoughts. It's something that I really struggle with. That comes from a lot of just trauma and childhood trauma and different things that I'm constantly trying to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. Even doing videos is really hard sometimes because I second guess what is okay to say or what is not okay to say. And so going back and having the journaling and pairing that with photos is then the next step that is really awesome, and it can be really helpful. And then adding the embellishment pieces and being like, oh, this embellishment that Ali Edwards put on this, chipboard is the perfect thing that my heart is saying right now, or that my heart is feeling right now, or the thoughts that I'm having. So I really appreciate memory keeping and project life from the aspect of it helping with the anxiety that I have, it helping with the struggles that I have. There's just something about sitting down with this particular project and seeing all these moments come together and it being so helpful. Also, I'm never worried about it being perfect because it is perfect for me. I don't want you to compare your projects to my projects. And I will say the reason that I don't struggle with that is because this is so me. These projects are so what I need in the moment. And it's the other reason that I don't really care about what happens to my albums after I'm done with them. If my kids want to burn them all down, if they want to throw them in a fire pit and burn them all down, they are welcome to do that. Because this project, it has done for me what it has needed, what I've needed from it. So I just encourage you, if you are on the fence about doing a family album, to dive in and do that with us. You can start at any time. So this is June. I will definitely do a journaling video for you, and you will see how I add the journaling to these projects. There are 2 other videos here on the screen for you, and you are welcome to check those out if you would like. I would love for you to give a thumbs up to this video so YouTube will be nice to me. I am always appreciative when YouTube is nice to me and helps me out. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you in my very next video.